Today, I'm here with Taruvinga. Taruvinga, Prosper.
That's it. Even my daughter can't say it, so you got it right. You got it right.
Exactly. So today I'm here with Prosper Taruvinga, and we are going to talk about lead generation to create a lead generating machine that you can't even stop if you even wanted to. And I'm super excited to have Prosper here because he is a brilliant mind when it comes to SEO, when it comes to generation, and how to build this kind of support mechanism that we as coaches and consultants really need. And he also has a really inspiring story. So we are going to we're starting with the story and then we're going into the lead generation because I guess that is exactly what you want to hear and what you want to learn more from. So hi, Prosper, welcome to the show. So happy to have you here.
Josephine, thank you so much for inviting me on your wonderful, wonderful show here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for accepting to be here because I know you are really busy because something that you do, which kind of like it differs a little bit with me, is that you have so many different touch points where people can come into your world. So before we start talking about that, give us a little bit of a background of who you are and what brought you to where you are today.
Fantastic. How long have we got on this show? I mean, as you said, yeah, I'm based in Melbourne, so obviously I've been around in Melbourne for about 12 years now. Wow. It's been a while, but I'm from Zimbabwe, so generally I came from Zimbabwe, and I've been working towards building a profitable business. Just using my skills, my talent, and just connecting with people like we are connecting right now. So yeah.
hmm And I think that is also part of the thing. You and I connected via LinkedIn. I can't really remember how, but that is kind of like it's so important to connect with people, to find common grounds with people. I was on your show, shared my story, and now I invited you to be on my show to share your story because I think it's also about sharing what we know, sharing kind of like helping others to inspire others. So can you take us a little bit back to where your business started, Prosper?
Fantastic. So when I arrived in Australia, I knew no one. So that's literally coming from
Mm.
Zimbabwe with nothing but a backpack full of hopes and dreams. And the first job that I did, Josephine, was work in a restaurant. And obviously, I wanted to connect with the people that I was working with, but there was no way and means to connect with those people. So, you know what I did? I then went on and created a Facebook page for that restaurant without the permission from the restaurant owner. Now, in his mind, he thought I went above him. And also during that time, social media was not very well known. So he actually thought I had done something wrong. Okay, because back in that time, people would use social media to leave bad reviews and to just smear the business, and he didn't want any of that exposure. So I was called in, and then he's like, "Who did this?" And I'm like, "Oh snap! I think I've made a mistake here." And you can imagine, there I am. I just arrived in the place, and I'm already creating enemies when I'm supposed to be making friends. So I literally got fired on the spot because he didn't understand why I needed to do that, because it's his business and he would have had to make that decision, which he didn't make. So, as you would understand, humans are wired for connection. And in that instance, I just felt so alone, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Without friends, no job. And the one thing I thought was helping literally got me in trouble. But I think the universe was actually working in its own favor for me at that time, because you understand, when you delete a Facebook page, it takes about 30 days for that process to complete, right? Facebook gives you about 30 days to change your mind or whatever. And during that time, a few girls that were from the girlfriends of a footballer, famous footballer in Australia, came and had dinner at the restaurant, and they tagged themselves in the photos of the restaurant. And with that photo, it actually went viral. So he then didn't know how to control that scenario. And he called me up and he's like, come over here, stop whatever you were doing. I want you to now start working on my social media. So in one move, I had been fired, broke, no friends, to now being asked to actually get paid to be on social media. And back in that time, it wasn't like what it is now. People were not getting paid to be a social media person. So went in. It took about 3 months for me to get my stride, and then from there I just started reading and learning and understanding what it is, that the social media space needed. And from that, I literally created my first customer, and I used that as a case study, and I then started securing a little bit more work in the future. And yeah, it just kept going and going from then on.
And I think there are so many lessons in this, what you're telling me, because you thought you were doing him a favor. You were like, oh, this is the new thing. I'm going to bring all these clients to, or all these customers to the restaurant. I'm going to make us famous, which you essentially did. But you were thinking you were doing him a favor. He fired you. You could have then said, you know what? I'm not coming back to you. I'm not helping you out. You fired me. But instead, you said, oh, let's take this opportunity. Maybe there is an opportunity, without really knowing what that opportunity could be. But then also digging deep into understanding this world, being kind of like being inspired, but also digging deep into learning more things. And I think that is also one of the big keys, that we never should stop learning. Never think we know it all, because there are always things we can learn. So that is super interesting. So what happened then? What took you then? What is another kind of like big milestone that happened on your journey in Prosper?
Oh, absolutely. So when I was starting to connect with a lot more people, inviting them to come to the restaurant, because now I'd seen that if you would have, they were not called influencers before, but famous people, if they would come to the restaurant, that would then put our messaging out there. So I literally started doing influencer marketing before it was a thing. And it was easy to get these people, because you would just tell them, hey, come for dinner, and we can obviously take a photo of you, and in exchange we give you a free meal or things of that nature. So we kept doing that, and I think for 9 months, up until I invited one lady. I don't know if you have in your country there a show called Housewives of so one of the ladies from the Rich Housewives of Melbourne, which was very famous at that time. I invited her to the restaurant, and she then reached out to me, and she asked me to also help her, because she was starting a gym clothing line based on her fame that she had now received online. And so I now got invited into this world of A+ celebrities. I would go to her house, and she would have all these people, and I started telling her, who do you know who's famous that we can put these clothes on? And naturally, that question really led me to a lot more people. I've been on Australian TV, I've been on Australian radio, and ever since, I've just been using that confidence that I'm building
Mm-hmm.
from one place to another, to bring in the right kind of people with the right kind of pain that I can help. Remember, this is somebody who knew no one. So every opportunity for me is a plus, whether it meant hours and hours of waiting backstage or whatever it is. I didn't care, because I was being put in front of my audience, in front of the people, that would help me do and have a happier existence. So that to me was just phenomena. And ever since, I've been growing my business. I started off with search engine optimization, which
Mm-hmm.
was a new thing at that time, because Google just started in. And then from there, we went on to content creation, because people come to the internet to get information. And I was just helping variety of clients in between. As we speak right now, our book has 450 small to medium businesses that are earning between 200K to 2 million, based in Australia, from somebody who was fired for starting a Facebook page.
That is amazing. And I think that also comes to, you said be, do, have, right? Be, who do you need to be? What do you need to do? And what do you, so that you can have what you want to have? But also that your past doesn't define you. I mean, it could have really broken you. It could also have made that when you came from Zimbabwe to Australia, that you said, oh, you know what, I can't do anything, I don't get this culture, I don't know I don't know anyone, I don't know what to do. Or when you were fired, to say, you know what, this is it, I'll just go back to Zimbabwe, or I'll do something else. But instead, kind of like really embracing the opportunities and not being afraid for stepping up, because I think that is also really important. You know, when this celebrity came to you and said, hey, Prosper, can you help me out, you could have said, no, I don't know how to do this. And instead you said, yeah, sure, let's figure it out, right? I think that is like so many key moments here, that I think there are so many people that, you know, if they could just have like one tiny ounce of your confidence, and to really dare to do these things. Are there things that you feel that you have hesitated a little bit before you actually did that?
Well, I actually hesitated to talk to my now wife on the day that I met her. So had I so there's a lot of things that happen in life where you basically look at it in hindsight and say, oh my God, had I not been in the right place at the right time, certain things wouldn't have happened. And just so that the audiences also understand, it's not like I did not have any fear. I mean, it's as any human being, you're coming into a place where nobody knows you, you don't understand the laws and everything else. But I had nothing to lose. So that
Mm,
for me really gave me whatever I was working on, that was me building towards the person I was becoming. All right.
mm,
I really believed in the fact that where you are is temporary. You know what I mean? You might go through a lot more stuff, and whatever action you take to grow, you know, sometimes things might happen. And if you look at a seed, when you put soil and fertilizer on top of it, it might think that it is being buried, but you're actually being planted. So every moment, every person that I spoke to, hey, do you know if anyone would need what I'm doing? Hey, do you know if I can speak to somebody else that you know? I saw that on Instagram. You've got X, Y, and Z. Can you put me in touch with that person? Because I had nothing to lose. I kept asking for more connections, even up until today. When we finished our show, what was the one thing I asked you for? I said, do you have two people you can recommend me to? And you introduced me to two other people. So that's just how
yeah.
it continues to work. Those two people will get to meet me, and look at us, we're creating something right now. So if I would have not reached out to you, like you said, on LinkedIn, if I would not have connected with you, this wouldn't be happening. And Sally, who's listening to this show right now, might not be getting the inspiration that you're hoping to create. So thank you for taking that step, because so many people hesitate just because it just feels like it's a lot of work.
And I think that is so true. And it's also kind of just maybe asking, you know, do you know one person? Do you know this person? Oh, I see you're connected to that person. Would you mind introducing me? What is the worst thing that can happen? That someone says no, or that someone doesn't respond at all. And I think that says more about the person than it actually does about the person asking for the favor. So I think that is really important. But let's move into this whole kind of like the lead generating machine and how, because you have, if we would go to your link tree, and I'm going to share Prosper's link tree afterwards, so you can see exactly what it is that we're talking about. But if you go there, you see that there are so many different touch points, so many different things that people can, oh, I need this, or yeah, that would really help me. And I know that all of this is the back end is really automated, so it's like might take time to set it up, but now, as you said before we started this recording, you couldn't even stop this if you wanted to. It's like a lead generating machine. So can you take us a little bit, without, I mean, if we wanted to go into detail, we would probably have 2 months to talk about this at least, right? But or join your program. But how what are kind of like the building blocks of what it is, that the lead generating machine?
So the one thing that a lot of people should understand is you constantly have to be talking to new people. You
Mm-hmm.
constantly have to be introducing people to your work and get people to know, like, and trust you. Now, I think as of now, it takes about 21 touch points for someone to
Yeah.
get to actually understand who you are and what it is that you're doing. Everybody's busy with their own life, and so many people are coming in from different walks of life. They have different problems, they've got different needs. whereas they just want one and the same thing, but they explain it in a different way according to how they feel. So the one thing that you really need to do and understand when you're starting a business is about leverage. All right. You are not necessarily in business to trade time for money. Otherwise, if you're going to be doing everything with your own hands, you're never going to be prosperous. Okay. So, whatever you do, never do anything with your own hands every single day. Leverage the internet, leverage social media, leverage videos like this. Right now, we might take 30 minutes. All right. This is an example of leveraged content. We're freezing a moment in time which can be watched years from today. So, what are we doing to create the journey for someone who's starting in 2050? All right. This video, they can start from there.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, if you understand that, and if you want to be in business for the rest of your life, try and eliminate yourself as much as possible while leveraging your voice, while leveraging your thoughts, while leveraging, your visuals, because people need to see you, they need to read you, they need to hear you, they need to feel you, they need to experience you in order for them to make a logical decision. And if you're not touching any of those touch points, something is just missing. I know that girl, I know that guy, but something, you know what I mean? So if you make sure you are available in all those parameters, it makes it super easy for people to start their journey with you. And if it takes maybe 21 days for somebody to know you, if you got 21 pieces of content, those 21 pieces of content will shorten the sales cycle. So that's one thing that I just understood right from the get-go, that I'm not in this to leverage my time. I mean, to use my time to get income from it. I need to create assets that will work for me, outside of this, time zone, outside of this time that I'm available. I need to be doing what I love. I need to be creating for and relating to my current, prospects, my family, my loved ones, whoever I want to, while somebody's listening to a podcast I did ages ago, while somebody is watching a video that I did in their own spare time. So when you create something like that, it takes away scarcity, because right now, I don't know what video you watched that prompted you to say, you know what, I want to talk to this guy. But something happened.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Or some people are more visual and some people are more reading. And that is also why we need different types of content. Also, repurposing is one of the big pieces that has felt like a big rock in my shoe for a long time, because we do all this, we have all this content, but then the repurposing process can be a little bit strugglesome until you find a kind of like a process that really works for you. How are you with repurposing your content, Prosper?
If they had awards for repurposing, I would be winning them all the time. You see this video here, the video aspect of it can be extrapolated into a podcast. The video is a video in and of itself. Then we can transcribe this into a blog post. And then the little visuals up there can be taken out and be put as Instagram posts. But we only sit down for 30 minutes. With creativity, this post alone is 500 different posts in different channels, that small snippets can actually create a whole content strategy just from this one video. So what I encourage people to do is you need to find out, what are you good at? Are you good at writing? Are you good at speaking? Are you good at video? Or are you good in person? All right. And if you find your thing, stick to that. Stop trying to be everything to everyone. And then try and see how that piece of content can be turned into all these other different modalities. So many people try to do everything else. All right. English is not my first language. I would like to say I'm good at writing, but maybe I'm using other tools. I speak into the microphone, whatever gibberish that I speak into it, and then the microphone brings back a piece of content which we can then finesse otherwise, and then I can create scripts out of that, and there we have a piece of content. So find what it is that you're really good at, something that you can do with cadence every single day. Like for real, you need to be doing something on a daily basis, which leverages time for you. So if you are working 12-hour days or 100-hour weeks, every video that you put out there is buying you at least 30 minutes that you now have back to yourself. So make that a goal, to be buying yourself time. So during COVID, this is what I did. I lost access to my Facebook accounts just because the email that I was using, I couldn't get into it, and then Facebook automatically took my account away from me. So that had been my only way of entering people's spaces, and that was taken away from me. So you can imagine, if you don't have video, if you don't have a podcast, if you don't have other modalities, it's not only for you to be omnipresent, but it also safeguards you from, just in case an event like that happens. And ever since then, I've been creating so much. Now I've got a podcast which is just sitting there. It's got 300 episodes that are all 30 minutes long, and I've divided it into 6 seasons. And each episode is a landing page in and of itself, because if I speak about something, I then create an extra maybe lead magnet after that, or a checklist or something that the person who's listened to that podcast can at least go and download. That's the reason why there's so many inroads to the way that people can work with me. Because at the end of the day, Josefine, I don't want to lie to you. People are always looking for the very same thing, but they define it in a very different way according to how they understand the problem. People are looking for good health, people are looking for good relationships, and people are looking for wealth. And if you can find ways to bring that to people in so many different ways, it doesn't matter what you're selling. It doesn't matter what you're selling. Those are the things that people are always looking out for.
Yeah. I actually call them the hot sellable markets: the health, the wealth, and the relationships. Absolutely. And it's also to understand that what it is that we do, how that fits into these pieces, and also really be passionate about it. And I really like, by the way, go back a little bit about the content creation, and also kind of connecting with people, because what we're also doing to expand our reach is we're sharing audiences. When I have you here, I am going to shout about this episode everywhere. People who are connected to me in one way or the other, they might know me, they might like me, but they might not really trust me to do whatever it is that they want to do. But they might see you, and then in that case, they are, oh, I know Prosper now. I really like him, and I trust him to take me where I want to be. So it's kind of like a win-win for everyone when we share our audiences, because we are not for everyone, and everyone is not for us. And I think that is also really important to remember.
Oh, absolutely. See, right now, your audience might not have known you to speak about lead generation, but now you've sparked that need. And now, obviously, because they already know, like, and trust you, they are now more receptive to you, because lead generation leads to wealth. Lead generation leads to relationships. Lead generation leads to health. You know why? Because if your business is profitable, it's much more enjoyable, and there's not a lot of stress that's going on in your life. You see, so now it doesn't matter what anyone might be going through, you would have brought it to them. And the fact that you brought it to them, you're now the teacher. And when the student is ready, the teacher makes themselves available.
Exactly. And that is the thing, right? So we talk about these 21 touch points, meaning that for some people, as you said, might take them 21 days. But for some people, it might even take them 12 months before they are ready to invest in themselves and in the services that we or someone is offering, right? So I think it's also about the patience, and to have the patience, and to be ready when they are ready, because they might not be ready when we are ready, right? We also, before we jumped on, or before we pressed record, we spoke about evergreen, how important it is to really the content that we put out there, that is evergreen, meaning that works independently if it's winter, summer, or autumn, or whatever, independently if it's 2022 or 2027 or whatever it might be. Can you talk a little bit about that, how to think when we create evergreen content?
Absolutely. So with any industry, there's principles. There's always the fundamentals of which, if anyone needs to be successful in that industry, those things are non-negotiable. All right. So maybe let's give an example in marketing. Message is the most important thing. If you've got a message and you know the exact market that needs to hear that message and that you're solving their problems, then the media can vary. The media is YouTube, the media is Threads, the media is Twitter, or is it X? The media is Facebook, or is it Meta? The media is Snapchat, or is it whatever it is. So you already notice what I'm talking about, right? So many people measure in the minorities, measure in the minimum things, which are the easy things to talk about. Yeah, let's talk about Facebook ads. Let's talk about, are they still a thing? I don't know. I'm in digital marketing, but I don't think they're a thing anymore. Let's talk about, Instagram Reels. Let's talk about the LinkedIn algorithm, which changed last week, and then maybe next week there's a new algorithm that expires. It has an expiry date. All right. But if you go in and really, the market is always going to be the same. I'll give you a very specific example, especially in the marketing realm. Coca-Cola. I think where you are, you drink Coca-Cola, right? Do you know what the tagline for Coca-Cola is, or what the overall message for Coca-Cola is?
I probably do. I feel a little bit put on the spot here, but yeah, I probably do.
It's got something to do with happiness. It's like open happiness or experience happiness or something like that. Happiness, share happiness, something. It's just something to do with happiness, right? That message, ever since you were born, has been the same message. They were targeting families, they were targeting friends, they were targeting people. That message and that market has not changed for them, and that's why they're one of the most valuable companies, because that hasn't changed. What has changed is how they express that message. Back in the time, they brought in, for those that want to go down this rabbit hole with me, they brought in Santa, and that became a branding visual that they brought in with Coca-Cola. And they had those Coca-Cola trucks, and then they were using newspapers, and then they were using then TV came, and then they were using McDonald's as a vehicle for advertising, because McDonald's only serves Coca-Cola products. All right. And pretty much from there, they now using VR, and they're using experiences and things like that. The bottle hasn't changed. The formulation hasn't changed. The actual color of the drink hasn't changed. They tried to change it once, and it backfired when they brought in what was called the new Coca-Cola. So many people boycotted the drink when they changed it. All right. I think Coca-Cola almost got canceled, for those that are listening in the future. All right. So the messaging has been always the same. The market has always been the same. The media varies. So if you look at what you're doing right now, who is that market? Who are the people? What are they? What's keeping them up at night? What message do those people want to hear? If you can match those two, that is evergreen, because every year somebody turns 50. Every year somebody wants to buy a new house. You see? So that remains the same throughout. So never get tired of your own message, because there's new people that are coming in every single day to listen to that message, and you're starting their 21 touch points. So every single day you're starting that 21 touch point journey for someone, so you are fresh in their ears, you're fresh in their eyes, you're fresh in their head. So that's what keeps it evergreen. But if you go on and say, oh, since you guys, I spoke to you last week about this, let's talk about what's happening today or who the current American president is. If somebody's listening to this in Bujumbura, it doesn't connect. It doesn't relate. If somebody's listening to this in 2050, it doesn't relate. It doesn't connect, depending on how they feel. But they are that person who might need your product, but you haven't addressed them. So if you really understand who your target audience is, what do they want to hear, and what solutions are they looking for, if you just stick to that, I guarantee you they would raise their hand and say, I think you're the one. Because once you stick to that, you now have an intricate understanding of how to explain these things in such an easy way, which makes people want to work with you. But if you keep learning new things, you're also learning as you're going. You are a rookie in their eyes, and you never will be an expert because you don't know what you're talking about. But if you keep talking about the same thing over and over and over and over again, you become an expert. And that's how people become experts. So you don't necessarily need to follow the trends or whatever it is. Just claim your place, stay there. Those that are coming in will come in. Those that have had enough of you, hey, they'll move on to somebody else.
Yeah.
That's how you create evergreen content without confusing yourself, without confusing your audience. Because ndikatanga kutaura chirudzi chausinganzonga ndinzwere. Urundinzwere chinezvi chandiri kutaura. Right? You see what happened there?
I was like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, hast du Deutsch sprechen, oder?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You see, I'm still saying the same thing, but now I've changed. I'm like, let me try this audience. Let me try this language. And then people are like, we were listening, but what happened?
Yeah. So true. So true. So I think there are some really good points here. So identifying first of all, who do you want to work with, your ideal client, identifying their challenges and their needs and what it is that they really truly want to hear. And while you focus on that, you also build trust, but also the credibility and the authority, and you stand out as the expert in the market. Sounds super easy. Sounds super easy when we talk about like this. Can be difficult because we see all these other things that come in left and right and left and right. And that is why we need someone to guide us, to hold us by the hand and say, hey, you know what, Josefine, I've been doing this for 15 years. I've been going down this path. I know how to take these steps. I'm here to be your accountability partner, your mentor, etc. If people feel that, hey, I want to have Prosper as my mentor, he seems like the coolest guy ever that I really want to learn from, how can they best connect with you, Prosper?
Oh, thank you so much. LinkedIn is where I play these days. I think it's the easiest. I would think I'm the only Prosper Taruvinga on there, or just type in Prosper Melbourne digital marketing or whatever comes up. I think something will definitely pop up. I've done my homework to make sure that I'm a little bit findable, which is easy with a name like mine, so yeah, it's one of those things. So LinkedIn will be the best place. Yeah, just follow me, see what it is that I'm doing. Every single day I'm coming up with a different post of the same thing, but I'm just explaining it in a whole different way. And I'm also really getting to understand, first of all, who I am, and second, who I want to work with. And those that don't feel like it's resonating with them, hey, you've got a thumb that can scroll past. You know what I mean? That's the easiest way these days in life. And if you do find something that you love, like what Josefine mentioned, we've got, landing pages that have checklists, tools that you can actually get a little bit deeper into what we're working on and see this unfold. It's the easiest way, LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will make sure that we add the the links to your link tree, or so that people can really connect with you underneath this video too, and when I share it on social media, because I think that is also the piece. We need to take one step, and that step is going to cause like a snowball effect. Like when you created that Facebook page for that restaurant, if you hadn't done that, we wouldn't sit here today. If we hadn't grabbed the opportunities when they were just in front of us, we wouldn't sit here today. But it always takes one step, one action. And if I could encourage the person who's listening, who's watching this now, is to define one single action that you want to take today, and that might be connect with Prosper. Write a comment underneath this video. You never know what will happen then. So thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to connect with Prosper if you haven't already. So thank you all so much for today.